All right, my lovely students, this is Ms. Hillman here, and we're going to go over our third type of percent problem. How do you find the whole when given the part? An example would be, I'm going to borrow $15 from Ms. Castro. It's 30% of what she actually has in her purse. We want to know how much did she start with in her purse. So to draw a picture of this, we could use a bar diagram where I write $15, and this is gonna represent the 30% that I'm borrowing from her. Our goal is to find out how much did she start with in total. So including the 15% plus the remaining 70%. We need to know what was entirely, so the 100% that was in her purse. That is our missing value this time. We're going to call it X. It's going to represent what was entirely, so what the whole amount was in Miss Castro's purse. To do this, we have two options to solve the problem. Option one, like we did before, is to write a proportion. If we're going to write a proportion, we know a proportion is simply two ratios that are set as being equal to each other. One of the ratios is our percent, which is 30 out of 100, because we know percent is parts per 100. And the other one, we have to do a little thinking. 15 was the part that I borrowed, so 15 is my part. Unlike the previous problems, our number this time goes in the numerator. And now we don't know what the whole is. That's our mystery number. We want to know how much in total did Miss Castro have to start with. Now that we have our proportion written, we can go about solving it. You're probably thinking to yourself, 30 divided by what can get you 15? In this case, it's 2, so we're going to do the same thing to the bottom, divide it also by 2, and our mystery number comes to 50. So in this example, Miss Castro would have $50 in her wallet before she let me borrow $15. Now that was with option 1. We also have option 2, which is my favorite. Option 2 is where we write our equation. Now we learned before that is means we put our equal sign, and of means we are going to multiply. So we're just going to take our statement and write it algebraically. 15, our part, we know that I borrowed from her, is equal to, I borrowed 30%. So we're going to write 30% as a decimal, 30 hundredths. We're borrowing 30% of we know means to multiply, and it's of some number, our mystery number. That's where we put in our variable, x. Okay, to solve this, we're going to undo what we've already done, what it says. It says to multiply by 30 hundredths, and we know because we are actually finding the whole this time, we have to divide. So we went over this in class. And if you weren't with me, that's okay, you're going to catch up now. To show that we're going to divide by 30, we're going to use our fraction bar. So we're going to divide by 30 hundredths, and we're going to make sure we do it to both sides. This is going to cancel out here, and we really want x by itself. And hopefully you have your calculators ready for you, because then you would put this in. 15 divided by, and you're going to see the fraction bar come up, 30 hundredths, and that is going to give you 50. So her total in her purse was $50. Our next example we're going to practice with is 50 is 40% of what number? So we want to know 50 is only a part of a bigger pot. We want to know what is that bigger pot. So how much was in that larger pot to start with? So using option 1, where we set up our proportion. Again, a proportion is simply two ratios set as being equal to each other. We have our 40%, which we know we're going to write 40 to 100. And because 50 is paired with is, we know 50 is going to be the part. It's the part that we could say we're borrowing. It's the part that was taken out of the entire, so the total amount. And what we're missing is the whole, so the total amount. All right, we can use a ratio table to help us solve this one. So we're going to put that in. We have 40 to 100, and we're looking for that's going to be equal to 50 to some mystery number. All right, to solve this, if we can find a common factor between the two, 40 and 50, between 40 and 50, that is where we're going to stop to get to, on our way to get to 50. And 10 shoots out at me. All right, what did I do to 40 to get to 10? I know you're saying this in your head, but of course you could use your calculator to figure it out. It would be I divided by 4. So whatever I did to the bottom, I'm also going to do, whatever I did to the top, I'm also going to do to the bottom. So I'm going to divide by 4. That gives me 10 to 25. Next, what do I have to multiply 10 by to go up to 50? Again, you can use your calculator or do it in your head. I'm going to multiply by 5. So if I did that to the bottom, I'm going to do that to the top. And 25 times 5 brings me to 125. So in this case, 50 is 40% of 125. So we could say 50 is 40% of 125. Now to do the same problem with our option 2, which is our equation, it would set up like this. We have 50, so we copy that down. We know is means equal to 40%. We write as a decimal, 0.04. Oops, nope, I got that wrong. Let's cross that out. So it's 50 is, and then 40% would be 0.40. And of, we know, means to multiply, and we're multiplying it by some mystery number. So I'm going to call it x. And again, we're just undoing this. So you're just going to divide both sides by 40 hundredths. And use your calculator, because practice is going to help you. You got to be able to use your calculator for this. And again, you're going to see that x comes to, so our mystery value is 125. So the entire thing, the whole pot, let's say it was candy, would be 125 pieces. And if we took out 40%, that would give us the 50. All right. Be ready for questions tomorrow.